Okay, call the meeting to order. And we have these two participants besides myself. So if you would, I'll call the town, you identify yourself, please. Berlin.
Robert Warnick, Berlin, present.
John Brabant, Callis.
And this is Lee Catania, Orange. Are there any updates to the agenda?
I would just note, could we switch 248 and 250 to give Lori a chance to get
Right.
back? Yeah.
Is there any public comment? Hearing none. I'll take a motion to review and approve the minutes of the June 25th, 2026 meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded.
Do we have a quorum, Lee?
We got three.
Is that a quorum? I don't know.
Five-member board.
Oh, it's five. Okay, Bob. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay.
That's 5 and 1 alternate. Okay, any comment on the minutes? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. We're going to hold off on the updates of the Act 250 applications. Lorraine has not returned. I just got back and so did Sam. We were in another meeting on the land use review board.
For the regional plan.
Yeah, and I was not a participant, but I was an observer. And I'm not gonna say a word about the land use review. No. I'm not gonna say anything about it. But I don't understand a lot of the things that we're doing. Maybe that's just me. Okay, let's go ahead then with the section 248 and 248A applications.
Great. Thank you. So this will be a pretty quick meeting for us as far as 248 is concerned. You have the small scale projects that I include that summary of every month. You see very low month with only 4 projects thus far in July, which is not too strange given the way incentives have changed, and also sort of the backup of projects that folks were dealing with when they were trying to get everything in by the deadline for those incentives back in December. So that was to be expected. You'll see in 248, I did include the same GMP upgrade and repower of the existing Berlin solar facility that we briefly discussed last time, just because that formal review was done the day I got back into the country and could properly access the PUC. I sent that around, I believe, the week, a few days after our committee formally met. So I wanted to make sure that even though it's posted on the website and went out to everybody, that it was still included in a memo formally for this committee. So we discussed this briefly last week, but basically the project will increase the output to 300 kilowatts of that existing project without any increase to the footprint of the existing project. And as you can see, the details are there in the memo, and we did sort of discuss this last time. So but just wanted to include this formally in our packet and see if there was any lingering questions, given that you all reviewed this memo a few days after our last project review committee meeting.
Which project we talking about, Sam?
We talked about the the 45-day advance notice petition of Green Mountain Power. It's number 1 in your memo to upgrade and repower the existing
The one in Berlin. The one in Berlin. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I called earlier. I have a question about that one.
Okay.
Apparently, one new feature of this, and we're not seeing any plans, so we don't know what it looks like. But one new feature apparently is a 7 foot high fence surrounding the perimeter of the project.
Yep,
Portions of that project area are floodplain.
yes,
And I'm concerned about a 7 foot high chain link fence in a floodplain restricting flood flow. So I would want to see, I know you had a comment in there about that it wasn't flooded in 23 and 24, but there were not significant floods on the Dog River.
correct.
What's more important to me is it is all a lot of floodplain down there. And you start putting barriers across a floodplain, and you are going to create a problem. So I think we need to take a hard look at where that fence goes. Is it in the floodplain? You put debris on it, 7 foot chain link fence, and you've got yourself a whole new stream.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can reshare, there is a plan that went out last time, and I could reshare that after this, and I can take a second to pull it up if we want to look at it together for sure. And yeah, right, I did call GMP to ask about the condition of that facility in the in any flooding events over the past several years, and then I also mentioned 23 and 24. And that, just trying to get a sense of how that area has been impacted. But you're right, that is it is a concern. Let me pull that.
Overlay the site plan with the floodplain map, which is
Yeah.
there's a new floodplain map for that area, which I don't have access to, but it's online.
Mhm.
But I think we should look at that because again, without seeing any drawings, I have no plans to look at. But just
Yeah, let me pull that up. There was I think I did send around the plan. I don't think I included it in this packet, but I think I sent around that plan. And also, if you click on the, if you go to the EPUC and type in, the case, number from the inventory, it does pop up. And I have to check to see if the, in the PDF versions, I build those tables so that you should be able to click on the case number, and it should bring you right to the PUC page, but it's actually a good call to see if those work as they get translated into PDF for you all. But let me pull this up, this project, very quickly. Projects. Turn it in. Is this the same site plan? No, that's the wrong site plan. Let me do this a different way. Sorry for the delay.
it doesn't say it's chain link, but I'm assuming it's a chain link fence.
Yeah, I believe that's what was described. It'd be really
You
nice
know,
if
a number of years ago when we had Irene come through Vermont and Rochester got like wiped out and a cemetery got eaten away at and coffins were in the stream and skeletons and everything else. And I was talking to Mike Klein at the time about that. And he said, well, it might have been the 400, 500-year floodplain, but it was created by the river. And it's just a matter of time. No one knows when, but that, it's a given that that's going to flood. It's a given that this site will flood. And Bob's concerned, that will plug up that fence and it will become a 7 foot wall. And where that water will be diverted, I think we should also assume that given that that will become a wall, and where will that water then be diverted? Will it cause greater harm? Are there houses to the side that would not normally have been flooded that now are going to have this water redirected toward them, or businesses? These are the kinds of things we should be thinking about. And this is a 100-year floodplain, so.
No, I'm so sorry, John. I didn't mean to cut you off there at the end.
No, it's okay.
I just wanted to note that the only proximate structures is their substation.
Say that again.
The only proximate structures is their substation, GMP substation.
Okay.
Oh no, why didn't they include the map here? Oh, here it is. Sorry, it's very difficult on
It's
this
actually not-
narrow view. So it's.
This
I
is
can
actually not, hey, let me finish there. This is actually not the floodplain of the Dog River. This is the floodplain of the Winooski River. It backs up through here. So, I mean, it's one and the same, but it's a pretty extensive floodplain, and I can't believe I wasn't worried about the units themselves because they're elevated above on brackets, but the fence is going to be ground level.
Yeah, and that's this fence here. This this line with those dots around it, that's the proposed fence. Here, like this. And as you can see, the river corridor is this blue line here. The buffer, there's a buffer here. That's a different one. The FEMA zone
Sam,
is
you
this
think I can
hatched,
see that?
this hatched line here. This FEMA flood zone is here. This hatching over here. So it does cover the majority of the fence and the project. And this is an existing project that they're gonna repower, and then that fence is around that existing project.
Is there a fence there now?
I do not believe so.
I don't believe so.
I thought it was code. You had to have fence around solar
Yeah.
projects.
Well, the information we have says it's a new 7-foot fence.
Yeah, correct.
And
So-
Maybe they just
surprised me that-
increased the height.
I didn't drive by there today to take a look at it, but I don't know that there's a fence there now. It's
Wow.
hard to see from the road.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if there's a fence around their whole, right, because this is sort of like that Nelson Drive is here, and then this is their parcel here. I don't know if they have a broader fence. Here, let me see if I can zoom out without totally losing. Sorry, it goes up.
How old is the original project? Do you know, Sam? And why are they replacing? I understand you're
Almost
upgrading
15,
the panels.
almost 15. I believe
Yeah.
I believe the data says it's 2010.
Oh, okay. So 15
Yeah.
years they got out of it and they're pulling the panels, huh?
Yep. And they'll get about a third more production.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
You
because
know-
the final order was 2010, in May in 2010, and I didn't see in the current facility description of the fence, and then they did say that the new new components would include that fence.
I don't see that drawing you've got up, Sam, but is that
Oh, I'm
are
so
you,
sorry.
are you showing us an overlay of the property and the fence on the floodplain?
Yes, I'm showing you the site plan, which includes, wow, I'm so sorry about that. So Lee and I were looking at it. Can you see that now?
It hasn't popped
So
up yet.
sorry. Oh,
Here it is.
There it is.
Just
Yep.
popped.
okay. So sorry. So this is the existing, these are the existing panels. This line here. Sorry. Nope, please don't do that. This line with the circles is the proposed fence. And this blue line here with the hatching covering most of the project area and most of the fence is the FEMA zone AE. And the floodway is what's in the dotted lines, which I think is right here. This one here. Right here that's just on the other side of the project and doesn't touch the project or the fence except for this corner up here.
So that
And then you can see
fencing,
the river corridor goes through right here in this darker blue,
yeah.
right there.
Well, the river corridor was what John was just talking about, which is where the stream might reasonably go when it feels like going there.
Correct.
And so this project is in the floodplain.
Correct.
And what made it palatable to me before, it did not necessarily obstruct flood flow. A 7-foot high chain link fence around the perimeter is basically saying it's eliminating this area from inundation, so it can't be used to store water during flooding because it'll be debris all over it.
Yeah, debris will catch it.
You know what I'm talking about, Lee.
Well, the water will get in there. It'll just be more sluggish in getting in there.
Well, yeah, what it'll do is constrict the flow. It's not,
That's right.
it's actually, it looks to me like some of the fencing's in the floodway. No, that's a quarter. The floodway is
The floodway's up here.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's out of the floodway, which is good, but it's in the floodplain.
Well,
Basically,
there's a piece of fence in the floodway there, Bob, to the upper right.
yeah, I see that. So I really think I have an issue with that.
Okay, so we'd like it to add it to the review and then submit it for a public comment?
Yeah, I think that's that if you're talking about compliance with the town plan, I mean with the regional plan, pardon me, I just had a town planning meeting last night, as you know, Sam. I have a problem with that. I think they need to address that.
And is the fence elevated above the ground by like a foot and a half, like they usually do for wildlife to be able to migrate through there?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I doubt it.
That used to be protocol for all these solar projects.
But even if it is, it's still once you basically, I have to look at the depths there. The depth of
I
flooding.
was just thinking about the wildlife, Bob. I wasn't thinking about the flow.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's another issue. So the flood boundary is that flood hazard area zone AE. That's the AE limit. So yeah, so there's a fair almost this whole project is in floodplain.
Yeah.
And the fence is basically a 75% in the floodplain. And basically blocking off 75% of this floodplain.
So on other projects, I had been told, I mean, I've attended a bunch of PUC hearings over the years for these things, and on a number of projects, when they would talk about the fence and screening and all this stuff, they would always say, well, the fence is required for us to meet some electrical code to isolate, the electrical hazard from, accidental contact. I guess there's high voltage stuff going on in these amongst these arrays. So I'm surprised that there wasn't a fence previously.
I don't think that used to be a requirement, John, because I've seen a number of.
So maybe it predates that, right? It's 2010.
Yeah, I think I've seen a number of fields that have now fences that didn't have fences. There's one on the airport road in Berlin that didn't have a fence and now has a fence. It's nowhere near the floodplain, but
it is pretty amazing though that you can harness the sun's rays and create so much voltage that it can electrocute someone. I just find that crazy.
Yes. And I also know that Nelson Drive, this drive here, is a dead end road that leads only to the electrical substation west of this project after it crosses the railroad. So I wonder if there is a fence on Nelson Drive. I don't know. I don't know if you know, Bob, but there might be a fence that just precludes access to the whole area, and then maybe that's why it
it used
doesn't
to
need a
be.
fence.
Maybe as Bob said, maybe
Nelson Drive,
the code
let me
has
finish,
changed.
John.
It may be that the code has changed, as Bob suggested, and so because they're making substantive changes, they're required to meet the new code, and that therefore the fence.
Nelson Drive is a town road across the bridge, and then Nelson Drive as a town road ends. I'm not sure exactly once across the bridge. Nelson Drive was created as a town road, so the state would pay for the bridge.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing was done to help Green Mountain Power put in their substation many years ago.
Got it.
It serves no one else but Green Mountain Power.
Correct.
They call that socialism, Bob.
Yeah, it's something
Corporate
like that.
socialism.
Yeah.
Well, I will add the concern around the flood and and an ask to address the fence.
I want to know about the fence. I want them to tell me why that fence is going to be obstructing flood flow.
Okay. Fence obstructing, okay, I'm gonna say it just like that, and then, I think it. Do you wanna formally take action to have me do that and then submit it as public comment?
Yeah, I think we should. Would you like to make a motion, Robert?
Yes. I'll move that we, send them a note sharing this concern and asking for an explanation, clarification, why this isn't a violation of flood zoning.
John, you second that?
Of course.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so moved. You will send out.
Looks like we have about somewhere 3 or 4 feet of flood depth in that area. Again, it's hard for me to read this drawing from here, but
I'll send it back out right after this as well, just so you have it again, and then also the link to the full case, so you can download it again if it's not in the email.
I don't need to know more. I mean, I think
Okay.
it's obvious that it's in the floodplain. It's going to be obstructing flood flow. Have they looked at that? How are they mitigating that?
Okay,
You know,
perfect.
you could have a fence. You could have a fence collapse. There's a number of different ways you could deal with it.
Great. And then so moving on, there were no de minimis cases. And then the only thing, I have a quick update on the town of Washington. The select board in Washington had put together sort of like a working group. And then the representative of that, Sheila, as well as another town representative, and then the applicant and lawyer for the Public Service Department and I met at the town offices on June 30th. And spent quite a few hours discussing potential alternative sites for that tower. There since has not been much communication. I did reach back out to Sheila, the town of Washington, to provide some clarity around some of the layers that I saw, specifically regarding their historic different district. There were some questions about the fuzziness of some of the maps that were in their town plan. And so just continuing to support them with that. But I did reach back out to Sheila this week to just ask if there were any updates to share. And it's basically just waiting to hear back from them and to hear for further communication on if the applicant is going to propose a different site. The Public Service Department representative was also going to look into a few components and past experts that they had on similar cases. And so just waiting for further communication on that. So I'd say in all, it was a productive meeting, on the surface at least. And they did drive around afterwards to look at some areas. And so, yeah, I think, I did offer, our support, like I do for all towns, that if they'd like to do a formal like town plan review of the project, to have that on hand at the ready. That was something also that we could support them with, but other than that, no real updates there. But other than, I think it was successful having everyone sit down, and again, we continue to encourage and support earlier communication between the applicants and towns. And again, I emphasize this to the Public Service Department, and I hope somehow it gets to the PUC, although they seem to be quite removed from the process, that this kind of conversation before the formal process would be, if that could be encouraged more broadly, that would be stellar. But what can I do? And that's all I got for you.
Okay, any questions? Discussions? If not, on the Act 250 cases, I don't know what happened. What happened to Lorraine? But
Yeah.
maybe she got lost coming from Berlin.
Yeah. I don't know. I will take a look.
Most of these are fairly small, but there is one large one in Berlin, and I'll ask Bob about that. This is the Comfort Inn. They're gonna put another 100-room hotel there. And
Yes, that's that project was reviewed by the Development Review Board in Berlin back in January, February of last year, 2025, and it was ultimately approved after a fair amount of adjustments were made to the plans. It's effectively, you know where the Comfort Inn is now. In front of the Comfort Inn used to be a convenience store, which has now been demolished. That new 100-unit hotel would go in front of the Comfort Inn in that lot that was previously the Maple Fields, the predecessor to Maple Fields. It's a fairly significant project. It's one of these longer term stay motels. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I was looking it up just before the meeting, and I got waylaid, so I didn't look it up. But it's we have several here in Vermont like it. It's a 4-story structure. So ultimately, we were pleased with the design. There were issues such as traffic, traffic lanes. There's a fair amount of traffic on Payne Turnpike North through there, but they did a traffic study and addressed a lot of the issues. I think probably Act 250 will want to look at that traffic issue one more time, be my guess. We did site plan review and conditional use review.
So is that Legue who owns that, or Lamberton, or both?
No, it was formerly owned by Lamberton, but it was sold to Geary, and Geary owns and operates the Comfort Inn, and now they're putting in this new Hilton, is I think what it is, in front of it. It's a 4-story structure. We had some issues with lighting, glare, stuff like that. They addressed all of them pretty well. It's in our town center district, so we have architectural standards, which they ultimately met. So
That's where you want it. It's already developed. Good place for it.
Yeah,
Right off
yeah,
the interstate.
yeah. The only issue you'll have is the only concern people will have is the traffic. The reality is it doesn't generate that much additional traffic. Can't remember the numbers. I do have a traffic study downstairs. And keep it for baseline information.
that was my only concern. I wouldn't even say concern, was my question was a traffic study done for it? Because other than that, I don't see any issues coming up.
Well, for the neighbors, the issues was glare and lights, and they basically have agreed to not have any of the lights on the building. I'm talking about the lighting systems that they have on these motels and hotels. They agreed to dampen them or remove them entirely where it faces the residential area of Berlin, which would be on the southerly side of their building.
Right.
That was a local concern, but you're right. I think traffic from a regional perspective is the one issue. This really is, I think, came about as a result of the failure of Hilton to be able to build down in Montpelier. So anyway,
Location in terms of traffic.
Berlin welcomes the tax dollars. That whole area is really has really grown. I mean, you have Maple Fields. Maple Fields has done an addition to their application again for more parking. The town has now built a new, or is in the process of building a new town garage, which immediately abuts this property. And across the street from this property is going to be a new Pacific Bank.
Hmm.
So that's in front of Shaw's. Pretty much fill this area.
Yeah,
And with that, we're doing sidewalks on the crosswalks and sidewalks.
And who's paying for that? Are the developers chipping in on that?
They're paying for it, period.
Wow, great.
It's condition. Town center.
Wow.
Building town center, you have to have a sidewalk on the street.
That's what it's supposed to do. That's good.
the one thing you can do, Robert, is, when you come out of Shaw's, the, sight distance. Pulling
fixed
out
that.
the,
We fixed that. They haven't fixed it yet, but the condition of the permit for Pacific Bank is they're gonna cut down that slope and they're gonna remove that vegetation on the southerly side of that intersection.
way to go.
Oh yeah, major complaint of mine.
Yeah,
Everybody shows you the contour map, that's without grass, without snow. You put
Right.
2 feet of grass or 2 feet of snow on those contours, and suddenly you can't see to the right or the left. You have no sight distance at all.
I know, when I come out there, pull halfway out into the lane to see if anybody's coming down, and
Yeah,
it's not a good idea.
I'm a little disappointed they haven't cut on the south side there yet.
Yeah.
So that was you that cut me off, Lee. Okay, I was wondering.
Oh,
It
yeah,
looked
that
like
was-
you.
That's everybody does it. I mean, both lanes are got people sneaking forward so they can see the other way.
Yeah,
That's why I only shop there with my pickup.
Got
I'm looking over you.
a ramming rod right on front.
okay, does anybody else have anything on Act 250 that they wish to discuss? Do we have any other business people want to discuss?
I don't think I marked anything up. I thought maybe the hotel would come up. Thought I saw something in Middlesex. Where was it? I guess not. Over in Williamstown, there's a fairly substantial residential project, which I thought was
Yep.
interesting. Part of it's on public sewer and part of it's on private sewer, which is, but that'll be reviewed carefully by the state wastewater division, whatever they're called nowadays. That's Larry Hebert's project.
And he was in the Williamstown Planning Commission and Select Board, I think, a few months ago, because I happened to be at that meeting for town plan purposes, and so I just saw I knew that he was going through that, because it's also linked, that he also has the other project, which was in the center of town, which was going forward, but.
And I'm pleased to see Lawson's expanding their facility.
Yeah, I
You
know
haven't
this
If
one.
you haven't been there, you need to go there.
Yeah, this one was interesting, the Williamstown one of it's 37 lots instead of, I believe it was 38 at first, but they got rid of them for, I think it was Salamander Passage. There was some component that he'd been working back and forth, I think, with A&R on for quite some time, if I remember correctly.
It's after the fact, Sam, but one thing on the minutes I meant to mention, I'm no longer the commissioner for Berlin. I am the alternate.
Okay.
I don't know if I was the alternate back in June or not, but somewhere in there I got changed.
And who replaced you, Bob?
Of all people, Alice Farrell.
Oh,
Who
wait.
used to. She moved from Barry to Berlin.
Right. Huh.
So she's now, first thing I did is I roped her into it. So. And you saw her yesterday, Sam.
Okay,
Okay, hearing no other business, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second that motion?
Okay,
Good night.
that's not non-debatable.
Thank you, Sam.
absolutely. Have a
Bob,
good
Lee,
one.
see y'all.
Thank you guys for dedication and showing up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes,
it's
yes.
super important.
See ya.
Bye-bye.